Here's one from Instagram, a wrestling historian. He wants to know, what's your take on being a guest referee? Do you prefer calling it down the middle or helping the bad guys win? That's an interesting question, but as a performer, is that challenging? Is that difficult to know how to sort of take care of your character and call the match? Are you wearing literally two hats in that moment creatively? What can you tell us about being a referee as a wrestler?
I mean, a historian always brings it. My experiences in the territory days really honed in my kind of thoughts and mindsets and how to really integrate even a special enforcer at ringside or a guest special referee. And I can remember having different conversations. Dutch comes from the territory days, and our thinking would be aligned. Sometimes a Russo or others in the room would not clearly kind of see the picture, but I think the value in it. I'm a huge fan of it. In more ways than you can imagine, because we'll call it, when you have a third member in the ring that can be a part of telling the story, then you can lead the audience down a certain way. And let's just hypothetically say you have the babyface talent as a special guest referee. You can have him do little things, bits and pieces in the beginning part of the match. And if he's a babyface, maybe you have some things where he lets some cheating go by, or maybe stops the babyface from doing something, and he's calling it down the middle. And you think, this freaking guy is going to switch heel in this match. I knew it. But at the end, he ends up calling it down the middle, and the babyface wins. There's all kind of avenues. I just think adding a third player on the field is super beneficial. And a lot of times, if you just let that special guest referee play his role as only a referee, that in and of itself, I used to tell, I'll say Vince this: if we just have this guest special referee and hype it up and build it up, if we just have him play the role of a referee and only a referee, guess what? That's a surprise, because people think he's going to side one way or another. And that in and of itself is delivering on your step. He was a special guest referee that called it down the middle.
Let's do another one here. This one comes to us from Mike. He wants to know, when Dixie and yourself had the meeting with Christian prior to his exit from TNA, you've never been specific about the details of the meeting. Was there attempt to offer more money to retain him?
I don't recall that we were, and I think, thanks, Mike, for your question. I think you're talking about the meeting that we had actually in Chicago the weekend of the pay-per-view. I think, man, I'm just trying to make sure I recall everything. I think we were, I don't say past that, but I think he had already kind of made up his mind. And I knew and told Dallas and Panda and probably told Dixie. I don't really think this is anything other than he wants to go back to WWE to prove himself. I think we probably served the role that he wanted us to. He became champion. It was growth in his career. We did him a solid. He did us a solid. But at the end of the day, we can't outbid WWE really under any circumstance. And so, do we really want to put ourselves in a position that we're overpaying a guy that we know it doesn't fit our business model? So those kind of meetings that were really hard, or always hard for kind of, I'll say, to Dixie to absorb that. Look, Dixie, at the end of the day, we have a budget and we have to keep, we'll say, the entire team rowing in the same direction. You can get out ahead of your skis, and then all of a sudden you get some pay out of wax. Not saying Christian's not worth it, but in our system, we can only do so much. And so I think the details of the meeting, I don't think there was money that needed to be discussed.
Michael Burgett wants to know, is there a venue you haven't wrestled in yet that you want to? Like, I think you've hit most of them. Have you wrestled in Arena Mexico before?
No.
Is that the only one? Are there more? You've been in Hammerstein.
That's a good, oh, sold that bitch out, didn't I?
You've been in the ECW arena, right?
Do you know I've never that's a good one. I've never wrestled there.
Okay.
Wow.
So Arena Mexico, ECW arena. You wrestled in the Tokyo Dome.
Yep.
You wrestled in All-State Arena. You did the Cow Palace.
Oh yeah, Cow Palace. I was thinking remember back in the because I was at in my other live event duties, or maybe I was there for international, the Full Sail Studio, and I know they did it's a famous deal, but I think studio settings can be really cool. I'm trying to think geographically.
I mean, I know it's not going to happen because it's not even a thing anymore. But it would have been cool to see you in that old TBS set that Crockett used to run.
Oh yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yep.
But you wrestled the Sportatorium
Many a Friday and Saturday night.
I mean, so you hit a lot of the famous ones.
The old ones, yeah. I even did a Cobo Hall. I'm trying to think of the
Did you do Manhattan Center? Yeah, you would have done Manhattan Center for WWE back in the day, right? Nope.
We had already transitioned out.
So you did Hammerstein, but not Manhattan Center. So Manhattan Center would be cool. You never did Elks Lodge in Queens, the old ECW building. That would have been fun.
Wow, we're kind of hitting a few here. I was thinking in Chicago, I've done UIC Pavilion. That's the old school. I'm just thinking, I didn't. Yeah, any ones that were alive and active in my career. Yeah, man, that's even the Germany buildings and the UK buildings. And
what about that Royal Albert Hall or whatever the shit?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Cool
Russell Coco Ware there. Yes, Coco Beware there at Royal Albert Hall. As Owen sat in the Queen's box. He always thought that was funny. He would say that.
Is there another American or North American building? Like, I know you hit MSG. I mean, that's an easy one. Did you do Barclays?
I've produced there. I've been several times there.
Yeah.
Damn.
We got some good ones though. There's still some on the bucket list to scratch.
The ECW arena is kind of, and we talked. Have we talked on the spot about that? I don't know what it was. Maybe Dreamer responded on something like me.
I've said before that the Double J character in the ECW arena would have just been nuclear.
Yeah, I would have
been amazing, and I would have loved it. But yeah, we still got to make that happen. It's curious to me that that's like the most famous independent wrestling arena in the world, and you haven't worked it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's always been Big Time Contract Jones.
Oh shit,
sure deal.
We've got to make that happen.
Do you think Tony Khan's going to have to take out a loan to pay your new contract value? Like a short-term one?
Here, no, I don't at all.
Well, SaveWithConrad.com can help you, Tony. Just if you need it.